I want you guys to imagine something. You just spend 1 year, maybe two, working on your next open Healthware project, and you already launched it. But it's been 3 months. Now it's been 10 months, but you don't seem to hear about the community like working on it. Like there's nobody contributing to it or like showing progress with it. And trust me, it's not because it's bad. It's more because you just put it out there and you didn't show them how to actually use it. And this is where I come in. I'm Kiara Vasquez, and I am the community and marketing coordinator for the open source leg that is at the University of Michigan. And for those who don't know what the OSO is a prosthetic leg, lower limb prosthetic leg to expand um, access to research. Um, and overall, like what I want you guys to take of this talk is lessons that the OSL team learned through building the OSL, how you can get your project from going nowhere to actually getting people to adopt it and be using it. And with that, I want to explain to you why being open isn't enough and it's only the starting point of how you get started in a project. Um, Well, to make this simple, I'm gonna give you an analogy. Baking cookies. When you like, I gave a list of ingredients to my friend that doesn't know how to actually bake, and I just told him like these are the ingredients and gave him very simple instructions. But I forgot that his oven doesn't actually work. So he actually used an air fryer. So straight up we have an inconsistent setups. And not to mention like in the instructions I forgot to mention that he had to like cool like have the butter and the eggs at room temperature and that he needs to cool the cookie once he makes the dough and some other steps like preheating the oven. But I already straight up gave him unclear instructions of how to make the cookies. Um, and not to mention when I gave him the instructions, I told him to use this very specific butter and very specific to use dark chocolate from a certain brand. And he didn't follow through because he just used what he had in his kitchen, which was margarine and milk chocolate. So straight up, he went with what he already had instead of like going out of his way to like buy something, which kind of goes back to like him not wanting to like spend more money and kind of like going to the cheaper option. And since he was baking the cookies like at 1 a.m., he actually didn't have me there helping him because I was already asleep. So the result of all of this is that he burned the cookies. Um, but and this was because I didn't give him a proper onboarding experience. And this is what I mean that when it comes to like providing an open healthware project in general is that you have to provide a good onboarding experience to your users because it makes sure that they are able to like use it. And through this we like through this we have to like learn when making an open healthware project is that what challenges are you solving for your users. And for us it actually meant like stepping back and like learning that there are several amputees that like 5.7 in the US. Well, I might gotten that wrong number wrong, but don't quote me on that one. But anyways, there's several amputees and lower limb amputees that you would have thought that the lower limb prosthetic research would be like expanding fast, but it's not. And what is actually causing this slow progression, first of all, is that every lab has their own prosthetic leg. Like there's not a set standard, as you can see in the top right corner for you guys, the different prosthetics legs around 2017. And not to mention time, like not every lab has the time to actually go around and like building a prosthetic leg because it could take years. But not to mention a building a prosthetic leg could take over $300,000 to build a prosthetic leg. And this leaves smaller labs out of reach to be able to do this, which in the end results in the prosthetic research community um, fostering isolation instead of like actually rendering like like actually expanding research, which understanding the problem does leads us to, oh, what happened to my slide? Okay, well, this slide was supposed to be about the talking about the open source leg, but I can still talk about the open source leg. Um, which for those who don't know about the open source leg, it's a I already mentioned lower limb prosthetic for research, and we provide hardware, software, and electronics, which helps like making sure that there is a set standard of how to build it, so people can like start just building and being able to compare the research. And then also like with the software we get people going, and then with our electronic boards that we're starting to launch, and make sure that people have control over their software. And now like people can also build a prosthetic leg quicker, which means like 30 minutes, and they can build it for less than 25K. But let me lay down the groundwork for the OSL. We started in 2017, 2019. The OSL launched the first set of materials. In 2022, we partnered with Humotech, which allowed new users to get easily onboard when they could buy um, a whole pre-built OSL, or like just the like the materials needed to get started going. In 2024, we started a component-based software release, which meant kind of like Lego blocks, where you could just customize and use whatever you need. And then in 2025, we're focusing on community and making sure that people are contributing this meaning forks, pull requests, modifications, because at the end of the day, we want to co-create and shape the future with our community for the OSL. And in 2019, um, sorry, we first launched our peer review article with the Natural Biomedical of Engineering, which first introduces the OSL, which also led us to publish the first website that had the information about the project, meaning that you could download the files and get the step files and send it to machine shops so they could like build like the OSL parts for you. And we provided them the first tutorials so they could like build the hardware. But we only gave them the hardware. So they had a prosthetic leg and they couldn't get it running, because now it's like, who, like, what if they don't know how to use the software? So we actually had to also set up a Raspberry Pi, which automated the network connection by sending email IP address. And then we also uploaded Python library with it in the OSL website, and included tutorials so they can follow up and make sure that they were able to get unwrapped and get the OSL on use. And with this, with the hardware and software, we started to see research labs adopting and running their own experiments and publishing papers, which by the end of 2021, we had around 10 research groups, which meant that we were going somewhere. We were being able to get reproduced and have people use the OSL. And it was no longer our project, it was a project for the community. And around 2021, through our community feedback, we learned that we had to make it more simple, more portable, and enhance the technical capabilities, which meant simplifying the three stage to a single belt driven transmission, reduce the hardware cost to simplify the assembly, and then also double the ankle range of motion, and a few more other things that you can learn about in our website. And then this turned out to be OSL version 2, which made it lighter, cheaper, modular, and quicker to build, which comes back that now you can build the prosthetic leg in 30 minutes, all while maintaining like the high performance of version 1. And it took less effort for people to build, which meant a quicker onboarding experience. With that, we did actually update the website, which consisted of updating new files and step files so that they had like versions 2 of the OSL. But it also meant that they needed new tutorials, so we uploaded new tutorials. But sorry. Um, we also updated the software, but the slide is not popping up. But anyways, with the software, we switched our GitHub tools to. Well, we switched the Raspberry Pi to like a GitHub tool, so like we could constantly update it for our team, for the users, so they don't have to be constantly going to our website and getting the new GitHub tools. No, Raspberry Pi setup, and then we also launched our Python. Instead of being hosted in our website, we switched it to PyPy, and now users could easily download it just by running a pip install. Which, as a result, by having the Python library in PyPy, we got over 4,000 downloads the first year, which actually meant that we were getting users apart from the users from the OSL community. And it was nice because at least we were getting contributors who were using our Python library beyond of what we were expecting to. And we also moved our design files from SolidWorks to Onshape because it allowed for real-time contribution, and it kind of also has built-in control, and it's a cloud design platform. And through this, we also kind of focus on deciding like openness, which meant like providing tools that users can use, and like it meant like having a launching our first DAQ board, which you can scan to learn more about it. But it was also like a way for our users to contribute back to the community, and that was possible also by our how we manage our platform, which I it skips a slide, but in the previous slide, it was supposed to show how we have funded the project overall. And in 2017, we had our first grant, which was an NRI grant, which helped us build the OSL version 1. And then like in 2020 to 2022, we had our next NRI grant with the NSF, which helped us fund OSL version 2. And then by 2022 to 2023, we had our NSF post grant phase 1, which helped us build the community. And then we currently are running on NSF post number 2, which is more community driven focus and help making sure that the community is more given. Um, these sorry. Okay. And you might be wondering like why focus. Sorry, I keep looking at the slides because they're the wrong slides. Um, but anyways, I'm gonna work without the slides. But like you might be wondering like why community focus. Well, we ended up like as of right now, we have 25 institutions using the OSL, which meant that we are getting more users, which is more contribution. And with that, it also kind of meant that we were getting more engagement. As a result, the OSL did onboard more people, and this meant that the OSL got Center, and through Center is the project lead manager for the OSL team that kind of just makes sure that there's any bugs, updates the system, and just kind of like controls stuff like the software and like technical aspect of the team. And then afterwards, like the team can only go so long with just improving on the technical aspect. So that's when they realized, oh, they need a community and marketing manager. So that's where I come in. And you might be wondering, why do they need a community and marketing manager? Well, first of all, like in the marketing aspect, it increases visibility and adoption. And when this is this is important in the simple aspect that through this, it also attracts funding and partnerships. And it also means that we're through bringing funding and partnership, we're accelerating the growth, and like by accelerating the growth of the project, we're able to create a bigger brand that people will trust. And we kind of also want to make sure that in the community aspect, we also want to make sure that our users become contributors, that they're not just using the OSO, but also helping build back the community. And we want to make sure that it creates a support network, that even when we're not there, like users are contributing and helping other users out to questions they might have. And overall, we want to help by me being in the role, we want to help generate a feedback loop, understand what challenges users are facing, and being able to like help them out, answer like questions they might have, and improve the overall retention that they might be experiencing, and building long-term sustainability for the project. And we focus, like my first role was to focus on the branding guideline, which you might think like, oh, why would I, what would you focus on the branding guideline if it's just logos and colors? Because that's all I have in the screen right now. But it's more than logos and colors, believe me. It's more, it's an identity. So when it comes to branding, new branding is that we're able to get a more recognizable face, and it means that we're more credible, and it's and it makes people feel part of something, because we want them to feel like the community is growing and that they want to grow with us. And it also means that we are growing outside from just being a project that started in a university lab, because even though we did start in a university lab, we're more than just that. We're an ecosystem. And we want to drive recognition and expand our audience. We want our audience to come outside from just researchers and students. We want people in the industry and people in like people who are hobbyists to contribute back. And we want to help build in connections so that they feel attached to us. And we want to make sure that we're different in a crowded place, and make sure that we enable growth in our future. And this is where our branding identity comes in. This is our logos that we designed, and we decided to go with like full open source leg, and then like the open source leg and 3 layouts, and then the OSO. And the reason we chose this icon for our branding was simply in the aspect that we kind of wanted it to represent a prosthetic leg, in the sense that it kind of looks like a prosthetic leg if it's like that, like the it's the foot and then like the upper. And then like we also kind of wanted to be like OSL like hidden, so like it's an O, and then like if you were to draw a line, it would be like an S and then like an L, so it kind of has the OSL hidden. But we also kind of like left gaps because we wanted to show that we're open to the community. And as for the colors, how we ended up choosing them is that we felt like a lot of tech companies go for the blues, blacks, or whites. We kind of wanted to stand out. So, and we wanted to also make it welcoming to new users, because we don't want an undergrad to be like a freshman in undergrad seeing our page and kind of be intimidating and not wanting to join the OSL. So that's where our color choices come in. We chose the Mirando and Vista Blue, which makes our website more welcoming. And through this, we also created some logo placements, which are not on the slides, because I just realized these are my old slides. And then the logo placements, we make sure like that users know where to put our logos, and we also put logo misuses, which as we want to make it more professional branding, we don't want people to misuse our logo. And through that, we also created branding assets, which don't currently not on the slides, but since they got launched on Tuesday, but will soon be integrated in our upcoming website. And through that, and we're gonna start using them to like put information and like making sure like we have a cohesive branding. And we also created like we got a font that will go all throughout the OSL websites, posts, um, PowerPoints, and everything. Like we are making sure that our branding is very cohesive. And then we also have OSL business cards, which currently don't are not in relation to the new branding, but we're updating our business cards soon. But we're like just making it step by step. And then we also updated our website. Whoops. This is what I mean that my slides didn't get updated. Nope. Okay. Oh well. This is our but anyways, we updated our website and we're updating our website for the fourth time. And like with the new website, we made some few changes. And first of all, I am sad that you guys can't see the website because it looks really nice. But in the new website, it has all the like the main components of how to build the OSO in the homepage. So that means having the CAD, having um, the hardware, the robot CI, which is the GitHub, and then also like the it leads you to the pipeline, and then it also leads you to the CAD files, all in just the landing page of the OSL. And then it also has like when you're building the hardware, it also has a tracking. So like you don't have to worry about. Yeah. Okay. And then like the updated website, like you don't have to track it, and then it also shows users like how like the OSO is growing, meaning like the how many people are using the GitHub, how many people are viewing the website and stuff like that. And also it gives users a tool where they are able to like post where their nor published articles about relating to the OSL. And through this, we also updated our forum. Our forum, like right now, is hosted in our website and it works, but there's currently an issue that not new users are not able to join the forum. And through this, we decided to change to to Discourse because our current forum also doesn't give notifications to our users. So that will take around a whole week or maybe even 2 weeks just to hear back. And hosting within discourse, it means that um, we can better categorize our conversations for our users and create subcategories, but we can also just give them rewards for interacting with our community and kind of just be like, oh, congrats for getting 100 likes, here's a little trophy. And then also like they can respond through email, so they no longer have to come to the website and like search and just to ask questions. They can respond through email and get email up notifications of what's happening in the discourse, as well as get a quick summarize of like everything that's happening in the discourse. And through this, we also created social media pages as we wanted to make sure that we were reaching people at where they are, which you can follow us. You can follow the open source leg at open source leg in LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and X. And we started posting like every week, and now like we're trying to increase our posts to twice a week, and I keep track of all the posts by having an Excel sheet, meaning that you guys can do it too. And within the Excel sheet, it just kind of keeps tracks of making sure that every post is posted, as well as that um, it has a proper caption and it kind of has a checking experience. And then currently our social medias, they're not we're not doing paid promotions. We are just doing organic growth, and our LinkedIn has actually experienced like 365 followers being open since April, and like just in the past 90 days we haven't gotten 98 followers, which means one follower per day, which is pretty good. Um, and then we have also seen that Facebook has worked pretty well for us, and like compared to Instagram, just because Facebook group has like the communities that we can share within groups. And we're not just building for the community, we're also just trying to build lasting connections with your users. We are creating community spotlight, sharing them in our socials, newsletters, and our discourse. And also we're making surveys to make sure that our questions that users have are answered, and running feedbacks, survey feedbacks, where we learn that some users feel like the tutorials are not enough and kind of challenging to understand. But where we headed on the long word term is that we want to co-create OSL version 3, which means a design challenge. And we also want to get our community more involved, and we're gonna share more resources and tutorials, where I'm gonna get started and then also afterwards we're gonna just um, keep our community update. But overall, like, just thank you, and thank you for all our users and people. And sorry that my presentation slides didn't fall through, but I hope you guys enjoy the talk. Thank you.